Day 299. Hope you're feeling fine. Let's see what the first card of the day is. Let's jump into it, baby. It's Angel of Mercy. It's the hotness known as Angel of Mercy. This is actually really cool art by Melissa Benson. And it may be one of the few Melissa Benson pieces I have never seen in my life. My eyes have never crossed over this image. I really don't think they have, which is crazy because it was reprinted in 9th edition. I was playing for these. Huh. You can get a 9th edition black bordered foil of this card for 90 cents. It's not worth it, but it's cool. This is originally printed in Portal 2nd Age. How have I never seen this? It's in Portal 2nd Age. Have I seen this art and I've just forgotten it somehow? It's in Starter 99. I have seen this art. I have at some point. Anyway, this is 5 mana, 4 and a white for a 3/3 angel with flying. And when it comes into play, you gain 3 life. That's it. There was actually a time where this is like okay mid-range value that never really made the big leagues, but I'm not going to score this card very high. It's like a 3. 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer. It's too much. So let's keep moving on. I like the creature type. I like angels generally as a creature, but I don't even think this really makes your angels deck most of the time. Next is Mountain. Basics get a 5. They don't count. This is special, isn't it? Yeah, this is from Guru. This is $500. This is a $500 Mountain on screen right now. Probably the most expensive card we'll see all day is this Mountain. So let's move on to Giant Ladybug from Jumpstart 2022. 3 mana, 2 and a green for a 4/1 insect with reach. When an ETB, search your library for a basic, reveal it, shuffle, and put the card on top. Womp womp. So it doesn't put the card into play. Although I guess you wouldn't expect a 3 mana 4 power creature with a keyword ability to also put the land in play. How greedy are you? But that one little change really makes the card terrible. Real so bad. So I'm going to give this like a 2.6. You won't play it. Next is Tundra Wolves. For some reason, it's a fuzzy copy. This originally printed in Legends. A single white mana for a 1/1 wolf with first strike. Believe it or not, we used to play this card in mono white aggro. We absolutely used to play this card. That is sort of grisly Quentin Hoover art there, but it's still art that despite what's going on, I like wolves. I'm a fan of wolves. So, and I'm a fan of Quentin Hoover for what it's worth. But either way, I'm going to give this. Did they ever? Yeah, they changed the art to not be so grisly in like 8th edition. Why do I want a foil 8th edition Tundra Wolves? Why do I want that? It's 50 cents. I bet no vendors actually have this card. Anyway, I'm going to give Tundra Wolves like a 2.1. I'll give it a 2.1. It's got first strike. Next is Shiny Impetus. This originally printed in the Commander set, right? Yeah, Commander 2020. This is 3 mana, 2 and a red for an aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever an enchanted creature attacks, you create a treasure token. So the whole reason I said like it has to be a Commander set is I remember this is a weird like red removal spell that goads creatures. I've seen this a few times, like looking through EDH rec and stuff, but I've never actually had this played against me. Not quite Chaos Warp or anything, but it is still the rare sort of, red removal. I mean, it's uncommon, but you know what I'm saying. It is not often you see a red removal spell that can effectively take out any creature. You got to worry about, when you're the only player left because of the way goaded is worded, because it can attack you eventually if there's nobody else to attack. But in the meantime, you're keeping the creature off your back for a very long time. And you're probably getting, 2, 3, 4 treasures out of the deal if the creature is aggressive enough to want to attack a lot. So altogether, I do like Shiny Impetus, but it'll cost you like 10 cents right now. I think it's worth it in some cases. For this card. I'm going to give this a 5. And I'm giving it a 5 because I would give Chaos Warp like a 6.3, right? And even though I think that removal spells like this, these like auras that make a creature not able to attack or not able to attack you, like these are typically much better removal spells in green, like Song of the Dryads and stuff like that. But I think there's still serviceable removal spells in red from time to time. I do. So I'll give it a 5. I really will. Get a bunch of treasures off of it. That's dope. Forest, originally printed in Invasion. It's actually originally printed in Alpha, but this one's from Invasion. It gets a 5. It doesn't count. Basic lands are that good, by the way. Basic lands are, in fact, a 5. I've had a few people challenge me on this. No, basic lands are great. Really good. Here comes Scorch Risalka, originally from Guild Pact. I remember this. Well, I was going to say I remember this being good. I remember playing this card. Doesn't mean it was good. A single red mana for a 1/1 spirit. Pay 1. just a single red mana. Sacrifice a creature. Scorch Rusalka deals 1 damage to target player. That's why I played it. It pings. And I like sacrificing. Sacrifices and pings, so I had to play with it, right? I don't remember this being good at any real point. I just remember having 4 of it in a deck. Because that's the kind of guy I am. This is decent, though, you know, in like Judith and commander decks that include like Mayhem Double, for instance. You know, this is another sacrifice outlet that adds to the damage you're getting off of your Blood Artists and your, you know, all that. Your Zulaport Cutthroats and your Judas and your Mayhem Devils, right? So I could see playing it in a deck like that. Also like this Luca Zontini art. I like that the train of the dress is actually like, you know, whatever you want to call this, like smoke, right? It's like ectoplasm that's kind of drifting off into the distance. And I imagine, yeah, curves around, and this in the northeast corner of the art is more of the train of the dress, just kind of puffing along. That's really cool. But I'm going to give this a 4.4. I think it's, well, no, I'm going to give this a 4.6. You know, this is the kind of card that you will play in a commander deck from time to time if you feel like it, but not because it's the most powerful card, just because it kind of works perfectly with the synergy, you know? The next is Reality Scramble from Commander 2018. It's also got a list printing. 4 mana, 2 and double red for a sorcery. Put target permanent you own on the bottom of your library. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card that shares a card type with that permanent. Put that card onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You can retrace this by, that means you can cast it from your yard by discarding a land, in addition to paying the 4 mana for it. So this is cute. Kind of reminds me of a polymorph effect you can only use on yourself, but it targets any permanent. So that's kind of cute. But altogether, even though this is like 40 cents, like somebody's doing something with it somewhere, although not that much. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. I think it's way too random. Maybe there's a way to set this up to where you've scried something to the top of your library, and now you can take like your crappy 1/1 creature and turn it into a giant guy. Yeah, obviously, there's ways to do that. Polymorph effects are fun, but I don't know if they're good, quote unquote, like necessarily good. So I think I'm going to give this, it's fun art, by the way, by Simon Dominic. I'm going to give this a 3.9 to be safe. It's one of the lowest scores so far this week. I mean, we gave like Tundra Wolves a 2. There's a couple of 2-point-somethings, but I feel like so far this week I've been too generous. Next, eventually, is Bestial Menace. I actually just looked at putting this in a deck the other night. Originally printed in Worldwake. 5 mana, 3 and 2 green for a sorcery. Put a 1/1 green snake creature token, a 2/2 green wolf creature token, and a 3/3 green elephant creature token onto the battlefield. So 6 power and toughness on 3 separate bodies for 5 mana. I was looking at putting this in Kina, I believe it's called. Maybe Quina or Quina. It's from the Final Fantasy set. It's a 3 mana legendary green creature that whenever you put a token into play, and I think it may be 1 or more tokens, whenever you put a token into play, you also get a frog. You get a 1/1 green frog when you put tokens into play. And I was looking at this card to go in that deck, but ultimately I ended up cutting it. And that is exactly the kind of deck that a card like this would go in. So if it doesn't go in that one, I don't know what it goes in. But it's still a card that I've at least passed my eye over and kept my eye on for a good 10 seconds while making that decision. So I should point that out. But I'm just going to give this a 3.9 as well, because I don't think you're going to play this in a lot of decks, but it's a board in a box, and if you care about tokens, you got parallel lives, it creates 6 things, like that might be good enough, you know what I mean? So it's probably worth considering in a deck or two here and there. Next is, it's a Vorpal Sword. I always like this thing, man. So this is just, well, heck, it's still like $1.50. At the lowest price, this is like $1.50 from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. A single black mana for an equipment that equips for double black. That's it. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Death Touch. You can also pay 8 mana, 5 and triple black. Until end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, what do you think happens? What do you think happens on combat damage? That player loses the game. For 8 mana, it ought to say that, you know? Does this just go in commander decks? Like mono black commander that has enough creatures, you're just going in? Especially now that we have the Soul Stone and like you're already playing like Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual and stuff in your black decks. Plus a bunch of rocks. Like it's feasible to get to 8, right? It's feasible. It is. I think just 2+2/+0 and Death Touch for a total of 3 mana is like okay. It's just, even if you never get to use the kill one player mode, then like it's still okay and like reasonably efficient. So I'm actually going to give this a 5.2. And I don't usually love equipment, but you get in at just the right time. It's pretty wild. So I do like it. Next is Curse of Vengeance from Commander 2016, and only that set ever. This is still about $5.30. A single black mana for an enchantment. It's an aura curse that enchants a player. Whenever an enchanted player casts a spell, put a spike counter on Curse of Vengeance. When an enchanted player loses the game, you gain X life and draw X cards. X is the number of spike counters on Curse of Vengeance. I have never seen this in my life. This is neat. You kind of banking on one player losing the game, Neat art, kind of Sword of Damocles thing going on to this poor lone king here. Gain X life and draw X cards. And that's just whenever they cast any spell ever, and it's a single black mana. If you play it on turn 1, you might, die before the person you cursed. So there's that. But if someone's about to die, you're not going to get as much life or counters off of, or life or cards. Because, they're going to die next turn. So they might play a couple of spells, right? But even then, I guess gain 2, draw 2 is good for 1 mana. It's not bad. I'm going to ask the audience, what do you think Curse of Vengeance is? What do you score this card? Because I'm kind of having a tough time with it. I'm going to give this a 4.8. I want to give this above a 5. I really do, but I just think there's going to be times where it doesn't actually do much. Like a lot of times. But then again, it's a single black mana. And it triggers like Enchantress effects. It's probably like a thing. It's really efficient at doing that. It's worth pointing out. But altogether, kind of surprised that I'm feeling about this, but I kind of am. So we'll move on to Spell Satchel from Strixhaven School of Mages. 2 mana for an artifact with Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, put a book counter on Satchel. Tap, remove a book counter from it to add a single colorless mana. You can also pay 3, tap it, and remove 3 book counters from it to draw a chord. So we've seen effects like this up till recently. Actually, I think there's a card in a recent set that doesn't do this, but it is like, okay, the first few times you activate this, you have to like collect evidence, and then it makes colorless mana. And then after you've collected enough evidence, you get to draw cards off of it. So again, like very similar designs we've seen recently to this, but this is fairly straightforward. Now, I do like that all you have to do is cast a single spell, and now it can tap for mana. You don't get a lot of rocks like that necessarily. That's cool, and it can draw cards eventually, but ultimately kind of an again, like I think this could go in Spell Slinger decks, is it and stuff like that in Commander, but I think there might just be better ways to use the slots, all things considered, right? But might be wrong. I just think that like Thought Vessel and Mind Stone are probably better rocks in a deck like, even a deck like Spell Slingers, than this might end up being, right? And 3 mana is a lot to draw a card too. Consider that. So I'm going to give this a 4.5. I think that it is playable here and there, but maybe not as playable as you'd think. I think there's a tendency to look at a card like this and be like, oh, that's good. I don't know, man. I'm actually not too sure, but I don't know. Fight me in the comments. I'm more than happy to do that. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. I'm Deb from The Place. That's my name. Bye.